My name is Jill Reichstein and I'm the chair of the Reichstein Foundation. Injustice fuels my passion for giving. We live in an incredibly wealthy society, but there's so much injustice around us, whether it's First Peoples, the challenge we're faced with the environment, the lack of care people have around a whole lot of people who have issues that they face in their lives. And gender has always been on the top of my list, because women are often the ones who experience the most disadvantage. The Reichstein Foundation is guided by injustice and inequality, and we work to support community organisations that are creating change. In the early days of being involved in philanthropy, I became quite engaged in working with women. And I'd been to America and I'd met this wonderful woman called Tracy Gary, who was part of a book that was called Robin Hood Was Right, which inspired so many of the now donors through the community of giving. And Ellen Koshland and I brought her to Australia. We ran a workshop and it brought all of the women that I knew who had the potential as donors, if not being involved in philanthropy. And it was really inspiring to see these women get engaged and be putting their money out there for social change in a way that was probably seen to be quite radical in those days. That led to my involvement in pulling together a group of women who, as funders, who wanted to be giving women the opportunity to learn more about philanthropy. And we set up Women Donors Network. And Eve and I were very concerned that we knew that there were a lot of women who had a wealth base, but they didn't know how to distribute it. And Women Donors Network gave them the opportunity to come together, to learn, to share, and out of that grew Australians Investing in Women. My advice to people who are engaging in philanthropy is to be able to share it with other people, to learn what they've experienced, and then to develop your own agenda about what you're passionate about. Have a focus on women because they're often the ones who experience that inequality greater than others. And look for fellow travellers, look for other people who have the capacity to fund. I think one of the best experiences we had was bringing women donors to the table, and their shared experience made them much better donors to be a part of that group. There have been so many fabulous organisations we've been privileged to be able to fund. I think working in supporting community-based Indigenous organisations has been something that's been really inspiring for me, to see people who have wanted to create something like the Koori Heritage Trust and to see that grow and become so significant. It's now linked into the museum, and to know that so many people who went through and were part of that organisation grew in an understanding of not only their own culture but being able to share it with others. I think that the community of giving is a wonderful example of bringing people together. And I know from the donors that we worked with over the years, particularly in and around getting women to fund women, was such a critical way of enabling the funding to grow and to have much greater capacity. When you work as a community of donors, you can have much greater impact than if you work alone.